broadcast. Yeah, I know. All right, guys, let's start it, shall we? Welcome to the show on this, Thanksgiving weekend. I hope that you've enjoyed your time off. I have had no time off, but that's what's the way it is. Hopefully I'll be doing this full time here very soon. Anyway, welcome to the show. We've got a lot of stuff to get to today on the show. Most of what I'm going to do today is right now, because I have another broadcast that I'm going to do later, and that's about the attempted theft of the election. And yesterday there was a setback being dealt to the Trump campaign, supposedly by the very left of center Supreme Court in the state of Pennsylvania. But we shall not fight, or not surrender, I should say. We shall not surrender. Because we are in this for the long haul. We are in this because we will not recognize Joe Biden as the president of the United States. It's 1776 all over again, kids. It is. But right now I want to talk about some of the covidiacy, I guess, and also Covidictators is what I'm calling people in mayors in cities, municipalities, also governors around the country who have created these absurd rules with regard to who you can associate with, how many people you can associate with, what you can do with your life, what you can do with your business. They can shut down your business with no issues whatsoever. There are two companies that I'm going to share videos with, one in Canada, one in New York City. They are saying no. One of the owners of a barbecue place in Canada has gone to jail, okay? He has fought and he came back and he opened the damn place up again. The fight is on. The fight is on. We have seen an infringement on our liberty like we have never seen in my life, certainly. And like I would say we have not seen since 1776. You've got two fronts. You've got COVID, which if you are under 70 years old, your chances of survival are about 99.9997%, 99.9998% if you're a woman. And I don't like to use New World Order, but there are people who want to bring down the United States. They want to bring up, instead of raising the boats of poverty-stricken countries or those who are socialist or communist, they would rather lower the ones that are successful. That's what socialists and communists do. There's only one reason why COVID has happened, and it is because it is 2020. That's it. The other front is the attempt to overthrow our government with a politician who did not win the election fairly. We've seen millions of votes flipped, including hundreds and hundreds of thousands in the state of Pennsylvania. There is proof. There are lawsuits ongoing, and the swamp is not going to go easy. And that includes not in Washington, D.C., but in places like the capital of Pennsylvania, in state capitals around the country where the swamp and the courts would rather defend their ideology than the Constitution. I mentioned earlier on Parler that in my life, the founding fathers had always been statues or stoic paintings in books. Grandiose. I was looking through some of the pictures this morning, Washington crossing the Delaware. I'm sure it looked nothing like the paintings made it look. But we're at a point right now that we've had so much taken away from us, and we've gone along with it. That includes freedom to go to church. That's guaranteed in the First Amendment. Right of peaceful assembly, freedom of expression. And when the government couldn't crush your freedom of expression, big social media did. They censored stories. They affected the election. You ask a lot of Democrats about the Hunter Biden laptop, about the intern that he molested in an elevator in 1993. Most Democrats, I have no idea. I watch ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, read the New York Times, Wall Street Journal. I have no idea about this, but it would have changed my vote. The day after the election, all my Facebook pages were taken down. I had stuff taken down before. I had YouTube videos blocked when I went against the WHO's theory about the COVID virus and the nonsense associated with it. I mean, it is real and it does kill some people, but most of us shouldn't have to worry about it. A lot of people on the Democrat side didn't know that Donald Trump had this Operation Warp Speed that brought 3 vaccines to the fore in 3 months, and they're going to start distributing them in a couple of weeks. That's never happened before in history. And then there are those who say we have to wear masks all the time. And when they say that we have to wear masks all the time, they refer to 1918, the Spanish flu. Well, it's not 1918 all over again. A lot of things have changed since 1918, like most of us have indoor plumbing now. A lot of things have changed. Okay. But it is like 1776 again. It is like 1776 again. So let's get into it, guys. Let's talk a little bit about the crap that's going on in the country. This is something that I thought was kind of interesting. We've got a lot of these shutdowns going on. New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham put immense pressure on businesses with her abrupt lockdown order, forcing non-essential businesses to close and creating what is dubbed modern bread lines, with people waiting 2 to 4 hours at essential retailers. So we've got people waiting in line for groceries. I want you to look at this. This is in the United States of America. This is not Venezuela. This should never happen in a country with so much plenty. There were bread lines during the Depression. Martinez is a former Senate candidate, Trump campaign surrogate. Is she really? So that there's been a lot of, oh no, that's a different person. I apologize. GOP Senate candidate Alyssa Martinez explained during an appearance on Breitbart that the governor ultimately capped capacity in retail stores to 75 people, regardless of size. The lockdown went into effect on November the 16th, a huge rush on all the stores, very counterintuitive. If the idea is to stop in-person contact, that resulted in at least 12 stores across the state in those communities. She added, it's all up to the whims of the governor to declare what is essential and what is not. This governor needs to be frog-marched out of the Capitol in handcuffs. This is Alyssa Martinez. I had an elderly woman contacted me. She was waiting in line for 2 hours to get her meds, to get her essential medicine. So it's making a public health emergency worse, in my opinion, for the people of New Mexico, especially leading up to the Thanksgiving. Lujan Grisham's order ultimately put pressure on mom and pop stores. She continued, explaining that Democrat governors are enriching corporate empires like Amazon and Walmart. All the while, Hollywood productions are allowed to take place in the state. We have a video of an actual production crew at work here in the state. Took place after lockdown orders, and my understanding is there was a special agreement that the film industry gets to operate outside the public health order based on their own agreement with unions. It's really a slap in the face of the people of New Mexico who are truly struggling, who are waiting outside in lines. These are grocery store lines in the United States of America where the shelves are always full, although this year we've seen them stripped bare of toilet paper and hand sanitizer and meat. These are the sort of things that socialism brings upon the population. And I'm not going to live that way. This is kind of cool. Andrew Cuomo put out a Rat Out Your Neighbor Thanksgiving program. It asked you to cause a pause hotline set up by Cuomo. If you are aware of any non-essential gatherings or any non-essential businesses or entities operating in violation of the New York on pause, please choose the appropriate complaint below, is what it says. Governor Cuomo also announced the state is increasing the maximum fine for violations of state social distancing protocol from $500 to $1,000 to help address the lack of adherence to social distancing protocols. This is from Breitbart. We didn't ban gay sex in the 80s when AIDS had a 100% death rate. According to the CDC, the survival rate for coronavirus is 996 out of 1,000. We are all educated on the risk, and we should be allowed to live our lives however we like, take whatever risk we choose. My mother is 91 years old. She went in for a physical. She tested, she's got a couple tests run, and they found out she had the COVID antibody, which means she had the virus and she survived and didn't even know she had it. She said she had a little dry cough for a couple days and didn't think much about it. My sister Lori has it. She has a mild fever, feels like the flu, and her husband has no symptoms at all. These governors, these Covidictators, and I include mayors on this like Bill de Blasio, they live by a different standard than you and I. They tell you and I how to live our lives. They tell us we can't dine out. We have to wear masks. We can't spend time together. The mayor of Denver said that there was a no travel order. He immediately got on a plane and flew to Texas to be with his family for Thanksgiving. We saw the governor of New Jersey being confronted at an unmasked dinner at a restaurant the other night by two people who confronted him. And of course, he put his mask on immediately afterwards. Here are some examples of these Covidictators who live by a different standard. And I've been saying this forever, guys. This is where revolution starts. If you think about the tale of two cities, you think of the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The proletariat lived by a separate set of rules. They were the ruling class. They lived in mansions and castles, and they ate the best. They had the best health care. They had the best everything, and the rest of the people fought for the crumbs. And that's what's going on in Washington, D.C. with the swamp. Have you noticed there are almost no Republican senators or congressmen defending the president against an election that's being stolen that 97% of Trump voters say is a fraud? Because they live by a different set of rules, standards. They go to Washington, D.C., they get elected, they have massive staffs, they get marvelous pensions when they leave office, and they stay in Washington, D.C., and they write books that nobody reads, but that there are groups that buy hundreds and thousands of them, and they end up in a landfill, and then they become lobbyists, and they enrich themselves. And people like Joe Biden on a $170,000 salary can have several mansions, and Bernie Sanders, and I could go on, all become exceedingly wealthy, exceedingly powerful, while the rest of us fight over the crumbs. And now this is happening all over the country with these Covidictators, mayors and governors telling you how to live your life, but breaking the rules because either they have a death wish or they don't believe the BS they're telling you. They don't believe the BS they're telling you. Here is Nancy Pelosi after going to get her hair done when the entire city of San Francisco was shut down for such a thing. Instead of accepting responsibility and apologizing, she intentionally attempted to inflict harm on a small business owner.
For falling for a setup. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Anything else?
Let's listen to that again, shall we? Yeah, let's do that.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of a neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years many times, and that when they said, well, we're able to accommodate people one person at a time, and that we can set up that time, I trusted that. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup.
What an ass. I mean, honest, really? What a wretched, awful woman. Nothing redeeming about her whatsoever. I've never seen anything redeeming about her, ever. Here's Gavin Newsom. After he told people they shouldn't be dining out after 94% of the state completely shut down. He goes to a 50th birthday party at a winery with 22 people, and they ring up a $15,000 bar tab. How do you, with 22 people, ring up a $15,000 bar tab? You're $800 a piece. They live by a different standard, don't they?
In fact, I know it's been 3 times because I remember.
Here he is. Let's listen to this.
That a few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th.
Look at him, weasel.
birthday. My
Look at he's trying to quantify it all.
wife and I, a friend that I've known for almost 20 years, and
I don't care.
and a friend that had,
It doesn't matter.
put a lot of time and energy into his 50th birthday. It was in Napa, which was in the orange status, relatively loose compared to
Doesn't matter.
some other counties. It was to be an outdoor restaurant, and
Look at how fake he is. He fakes the smile.
we started the program started at 4 o'clock. It was one of those
Who cares?
early reservations. I got there a little bit late at 4:30, and as soon as I sat down at the larger table, I realized it was a little larger group than I had anticipated, and I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up and walked back, got in my car, and drove back.
But you didn't. You stayed there for 3 or 4 hours. You got all sorts of drunk. You didn't wear masks. You probably sang a little bit.
To my
You did everything that you tell us that could kill us.
house. Instead, I chose to sit there with my wife and a number of other couples.
Yeah, piss off. Here's Mayor Lightfoot of Chicago. She went to a massive outdoor protest, even though she has locked down the city.
Frustrated or skeptical is they're getting a lot of mixed messages. What do you say to those who are criticizing you where less than a week ago you went out and stood before a massive crowd who was celebrating Joe Biden's victory, and now you're saying your city has to shut down? How do you have one and not the other?
Well, look, I think that we've been saying all along, everybody has to take care. Everybody has to take precaution. I will tell you, in that big crowd a week ago, everybody was wearing masks.
You're not wearing one.
Look at, you can see the shot here. Mask compliance in our city is actually
that guy is down. There's his mask is down.
up very, very high.
There's no mask.
But yes, there are times when we actually do need to have a relief and come together. And I felt like,
I'm not governed by the rules of the FCC, but I've decided not to use terse language. Here's Muriel Bowser of Washington, D.C., who is an absolutely wretched woman, allowed Black Lives Matter and Antifa to go after Trump supporters after the Trump nomination was accepted and the celebration at the White House grounds. Did nothing about it, let people get injured. Here she is. She traveled out of state to Delaware. And supposedly, if you go to Delaware and you come back, you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days. But you see, she's a Covidictator.
Harris team on a historic victory.
The trip to Delaware. Questions have arisen. Talk about it in respect to your list of states that are risky and why you went there. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So Sam has asked me about a trip that I took on Saturday night to congratulate the Biden-Harris team on a historic victory and celebrate.
You can do that with a Zoom call, you ass.
For Washingtonians, what will be a change at the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And I've been very proud to do that.
That's an applause line meant to be a distraction.
Was it essential?
Absolutely. Let me just say this, Sam. I do a lot of things to it.
Now, wait a minute. People have to work from home. They have to do their work via Zoom call or via the internet. And she had to be there. She had to be there, even though you don't have to be there. We've had congressional hearings where Kamala Harris couldn't be in the same room with the Congress, and yet she had to be in Delaware.
It's the interests of the District of Columbia. And some of them are formal and some of them are informal, but all of them are necessary.
Please, dear God. There are hundreds of millions of people who are on a razor's edge, who've been pushed to the ends of their patience. They are tired of this nonsense. I have shared with you countless statistics about coronavirus. I started back in March. I said this is not the Black Plague, and I said of all the business closings, church closings and whatnot, this can't happen again. This can never happen again. This can't. It'll be the end of the world. 60% of businesses that have had to close will never reopen again. Are you out of your nut? Right up here in the corner, and I apologize, I had to shrink it a little bit here. These are the T-shirts that I create with my friend Sam Cangelosi. He is a genius. He is a graphic designer, and we've created this line of T-shirts. If you just go to tpublic.com, conservatees, you're going to see a bunch of different shirts like Cancel Fox News, America Supremacist, Fake News. There is Party Like It's 1776. All of those are available at tpublic.com. Just look for conservatees. Also, I want to mention something here that's kind of important because one of you is going to win this. At the end of this month, which is tomorrow, I'm going to announce a winner of a freezer full of Wagyu beef from Hassel Cattle Company and a Pit Barrel Classic Cooker from Pit Barrel Cookers. One new subscriber to my Rumble channel, rumble.com/Rob Carson, or youtube.com/Rob Carson. I'm going to choose somebody tomorrow. So go there and subscribe to either channel. I prefer Rumble because they don't censor me. Okay? Thought you should know that. I have a couple of very powerful stories that I want to share with you. I'm going to start with the... well, I'm going to mention this first. L.A. County stay-at-home orders prohibiting private gatherings of non-household members, public and private gatherings with individuals outside of a person's immediate household. That's what they're doing in L.A. Starting Friday, attributing to alarming levels of new coronavirus cases. While the order encourages residents to wear masks to limit their appearance in public, it also bars them from gathering with non-household members, even in private settings. Are you listening to this? Are you listening to this? This is the closest we have ever come to Nazi Germany. Just think about it, guys. And I don't use that loosely. I mean, conservatives always get called Nazis. Conservative presidents always get called Nazis. Republican presidents always get called Nazis. But it prohibits gathering with non-household members, even in private settings. Let's just do a real quick analogy. Do you suppose that Germans who hid Jewish people in their homes, do you suppose those were non-household members? Do you suppose having them in your home would be against the edict by the government? Punishable by life and by law enforcement, including fines and jail time. Do you suppose? While there is an exception for faith-based services and protests, there's no explicit exception for gatherings in private residences. Quote, gatherings, all public and private gatherings with individuals not in your household are prohibited except for faith-based services, blah, 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 which are constitutionally protected rights. No, it's everything. You're wrong. That is absolutely wrong. It's not about protest and it's not about church. It's about assembly. And that means your family in your effing house. The order allows essential retail stores to operate at 35% occupancy maximum, which means that if it's 36%, they got to shut it down. See, this is absolutely unenforceable and absurd. Non-essential retail stores, which of course are at the discretion of the government or whatever Covidictator is in charge, are barred at 20% occupancy, as are personal care services. 21%, it will kill everybody. If you're at 19%, everybody will live. You see how stupid that is? Outdoor fitness centers, zoos, aquariums, mini golf courses are permitted to operate at 50% capacity. 51% will kill everybody. 49%, everybody's fine. Beaches, trails, and parks remain open. Gathering at these sites with members outside your household are prohibited. So you got to show your papers, I guess. Can I see your driver's license? Yeah. It says here you don't live at the same address. Come with me. Golf courses, tennis courts, pickleball, archery ranges, skate parks, bike parks, community gardens remain open for individuals or members of a single household. Pools that serve more than one household may open only for regulated lap swimming with one person per lane. Are you out of your mother effing mind? Did you hear what I just said? What kind of government does this? What kind of government does this? Drive-in movies, events, car parades are permitted, provided occupants in each car are members of the same household. Excuse me, I'm rapping on your window. Yeah, can you roll down your window, please? Can I see everybody's driver's license there? I need to know that you're all from the same household in the car. Are you kidding me? Indoor dining services at bars, restaurants, and breweries will remain closed. Customers are not wearing face coverings during their visit, which results in an increased chance of transmission of the virus. Restaurants, wineries, and breweries remain open for pickup, delivery, or takeout. Breweries and wineries remain open for retail at 20% occupancy. Not 21% because everybody's going to die. 19%, you're fine. Even Tommy Vietor, former National Security Council spokesperson for Barack Obama, concluded that the newly announced rules, which essentially prohibit backyard gatherings with neighbors, make zero sense and are completely unenforceable. But they open the door for the government to do any effing thing they want to do to you, your family, and those who want to associate with you. Johns Hopkins study mysteriously disappeared after it revealed, in spite of COVID, no more deaths in 2020 than in prior years. This was for real. Johns Hopkins University keeps a tracker of COVID cases around the world and the U.S. The site is used to scare people into staying in their homes and shut off from the real world. So when a study from Johns Hopkins comes out showing no increase in deaths in 2020 related to prior years, the study has to be taken down. Gateway Pundit reported back in August that according to the CDC, 6% of all deaths labeled as COVID deaths are solely related to the virus. The remaining deaths have on average at least 2 to 3 comorbidities present, including being over 80 years old. Over last weekend, the study was published by Johns Hopkins claiming that COVID-19 has had relatively no effect on deaths in the U.S. After being published, it was deleted from the web. It was retrieved using the Wayback software, whatever the hell that is. Genevieve Briand, Assistant Program Director of the Applied Economics Master's Degree Program at Johns Hopkins, critically analyzed the impact of COVID on U.S. deaths. According to her, the impact of COVID-19 on deaths in the U.S. can be fully understood by comparing it to the number of total deaths in the country. Quote, according to the study, in contrast to most people's assumptions, the number of deaths by COVID is not alarming. In fact, it has relatively no impact on deaths in the United States. But you can't associate with people outside of your household. And if there are people outside of your household hiding in your home, the police can come and arrest you and them. Surprisingly, the deaths of older people stayed the same before and after COVID-19. Since COVID-19 mainly affects the elderly, experts expected an increase in the percentage of deaths in older age groups. However, this increase is not seen. In fact, the percentages of deaths among all age groups remain relatively the same, including my mother is 91 years old. She survived COVID. She has the antibodies. She never knew she had it. When Brian looked at the 2020 data during the seasonal period, COVID-19 related deaths exceeded deaths from heart disease. This was highly unusual since heart disease has always prevailed as the leading cause of deaths. However, when taking a closer look at the death numbers, she noticed something strange. As Brian compared the number of deaths per cause during that period in 2020 to 2018, she noticed that instead of the expected drastic increase across all causes, there was a significant decrease in deaths due to heart disease. Even more surprising is seeing this sudden... No. There you go. And yet you see stories like this. The U.S. is going to see the darkest days in modern medical history. Doctors' dire warning of 95% of the country sees uncontrollable COVID-19 spread and 50 million travel for Thanksgiving, with 17% spike hitting California in just 24 hours. Which means that all of the precautions that the Covidictators have been dictating in states like California, New York, New Jersey, Minnesota, have done nothing. But they're saying it's even more out of hand than ever, so we have to double down on these policies and keep you in your home and keep you from assembling and keep you from being with other people. I'm thinking in 1775, 1774, there were people who got together and they were from outside households and they were having meetings about the toppling of the government. I imagine a few of those people were raided and arrested too. 1776 all over again. I don't say that lightly. This is a story out of Canada, Toronto, Canada. There's Adam Skelly, the owner of Adamson Barbecue, asked media members to leave his property Wednesday, which officials say was in violation of public health orders. Adam, he owns this barbecue joint, and he was arrested by police. He's trying to make a living. He's trying to feed his family, and the police even arrived on horseback to shut him down. All dining, non-essential shopping salons and gyms have been ordered closed in Toronto. And here's a little bit from the story. They're calling it the Barbecue Rebellion in Toronto. And by the way, this guy's barbecue looks pretty damn good.
That he seems to be of the ilk that may try to do that. We'll have to let him decide that.
Let's try that again.
Day 4 of the Barbecue Rebellion. And you can see, even though at this time of the day, on the Friday, Adam Skelly is in custody in jail and going before the court to see if he can get bail. And that's to unfold. And if you're watching this video, we'll update it as we go. But right now, we have a lot of his friends and supporters are still here at this Adamson Barbecue. Now, you'll notice that it's no longer in control of Adam Skelly. The city now controls it. The police are there. There's barricades up, and they've boarded up the windows.
By the way, he went in yesterday and he posted a video with Fight for the Right to Party by the Beastie Boys. He busted down the doors. He unscrewed the doors that had been screwed shut, and he invited people to a new establishment and said, F you to the authorities.
So there's no barbecue here today, and there may not be for a period of time to come, if ever.
Now, I'm going to play a video, and I sent this to my friend Dan Bongino this morning because in 1776 and around that time, farmers and business owners threw off the reins of an oppressive government. They were common folk. There were intellectuals, obviously. You're looking at Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and the like, John Adams. But something about the restriction of freedom brought something out within them, and they decided to fight back because they realized how incredibly important it was. And there was a guy who owns, and this is kind of funny because you've got Mac's Barbecue Place in Toronto, and now Mac's Public House in Staten Island. And I want you to watch this because I'm going to start where the authorities go after him with a laser sight. You're going to see a board that is the only thing on their agenda that day. We're shutting down Mac's Public House. And Mac has said, F you. All right? So we're going to start with a little bit from him and then the board.
Avoided. We're still doing things in a safe way. We're still open. So the health.
Here he is. He's asking the mayor of New York to come to his establishment to make sure that he's running the place safely.
The health department has given us a closed business order. The liquor authority has now revoked our liquor license.
We have one item on today's calendar.
Watch this.
The licensee is Mac's Pub LLC.
I'm voting to summarily suspend this license.
All right, Commissioner Ford, your vote, please.
I feel I have no other choice but to vote to summarily suspend this license.
And Chairman Bradley.
And I vote to summarily suspend.
So it doesn't seem like we can do business.
Now, I want you to watch this because this is where he becomes more than a bar owner. And I think you're going to be inspired by what he has to say. So I'm just going to let this play, guys.
So here's what we're going to do for everybody. We're going to give everything away for free. So now you can come to Mac's Public House and you can eat for free and you can drink for free. We just ask that you do make a donation towards us so that we can still pay our bills. Other than that, we're still here. So you can keep sending them, you can keep doing it. At some point, Mayor and Governor, if you want to come down and see what we're about, and if we're doing things safe, come on down. Open invite. You can have a good time with us.
So they came. And with that, they end up putting out here for the order of summary suspension of license. At no time did they even think about coming inside of our establishment. They knew that they would be in violation to end up trespassing on our property.
Yep.
They knew that they were overstepping their bounds, and at the same time, you had a city agency backing up a state agency, because state agencies don't want to back up state agencies because they all know what they are doing is illegal. We're not backing down. You think you scared me by putting in the fact that you're saying I don't have a license now to serve liquor? Well, guess what? That little liquor license is on the wall. If that liquor license is going to come off the wall, it's going to be done by Cuomo. You want to come down here and pull that license off the wall? Or DeBozo, you want to come down here and pull that license off the wall? Feel free to end up coming down and we'll have a conversation before you even think about stepping foot on my property. I will not back down.
Keep sending your agencies, because they're not allowed in, and we're still going to be here.
Good for you.
To the Sheriff's Department, we know you watch these videos. You told us so. You told us the elected politicians that have seized absolute unconstitutional power from the citizens have watched it as well, and it is creating problems for them. It led to you voiding the $15,000 fine. You swore to uphold the Constitution. My question is, constitutionally, what exactly is the legal grounds to the mandates you are enforcing? It is imperative your department bring grievances forward to the mayor and the governor. You are complicit in the overreach of power. You are playing the role of foot soldiers dedicated to New Age dictators in the world's greatest city. The litigation that follows will directly affect your department. Andrew Cuomo and Bill de Blasio are just men. The optics of the power they believe they have are displayed through attacks on the citizens through illegal means. We the people will not stand for it. Eventually, everyone will be on board. Every restaurant, every bar, every small business owner will stop living in fear of your baseless attacks with astronomical illegal fines. We ask all businesses to learn your rights and make your stand. We must declare our independence from our tyrannical oppressors. The strong pave the way for the weak. We again are at a point in history where we remind those that have overstepped their reach and are oppressing their citizens, it will not be accepted. We the people are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You cannot demand we let our families go hungry. You have no right. No man in this entire world has that right. You are not royalty, and we will not bow.
Wow. Wow. That's just a man.
Something happening.
He's the bar owner.
What is the difference between sitting in an enclosed tent outside with no ventilation as to sitting inside with central AC and central heat with air circulating? Doesn't make sense. It's all a load of shit. I don't want to hear it anymore, bro.
Everybody look what's going down.
See what happens to average people when they're backed into a corner and they have their freedom taken away from them. At least in this country, they don't back down. They don't go quietly into the night. My next show is going to be about the attempted theft of the election. I've got a lot of stuff to get to. But I hope I was able to provide some facts about the coronavirus scam. And as the media, literally, they're well, not literally, but their heads are exploding with new death rates. And you're going to be told all of these things. And I mean, I've seen people, they're freaking. Some people are freaking out. But the death rate in America is no higher than normal. This is one front. The other front is attempting to steal the election. I talked to a guy yesterday at work. He was an ex-Marine. And he said, who's going to lead us? I said, we got the guy. He's in the White House right now. He's been leading us for 4 years. We haven't forsaken him. He hasn't forsaken us. And he hasn't forsaken the country. So all I can say is you're going to get distracted. You're going to get scared. You're going to get told this and that. And it's all BS. And you're going to get told that Donald Trump has lost the election. And you're going to be told this is the court case that ends it all. And you need to just stay focused, stay strong, and do not let yourself get down. Do not get down. Do not give up. Ever. Ever. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you had a blessed Thanksgiving. I appreciate you. If you are watching this live, my show on Newsmax is today at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's called Rob Carson's What in the World. It's funnier than today's show, because today's show is pretty serious. You know, it needed to be. But my TV show on Newsmax is a conservative daily show. Okay? So God bless you. Enjoy your day. If you're watching this beyond Sunday, enjoy any day that you're watching this, and I appreciate it. And thanks for watching me. Thanks for watching Newsmax, and I'll see you again soon. God bless.